When life's playing you, forgive God. You ought to savor life's twists and turns before you can be wise. When you don't get what you want, forgive destiny. You ought to be in touch with your soul's truest desires. When you can't trust your gut, forgive reality. You ought to feel people and things more than you see them with your eyes. When your beloved cannot reciprocate, forgive freedom. You ought to expose love and give it room to grow. When your mind is eluding you, forgive imagination. You ought to allow your mind to wander to unseen and unheard of possibilities. When your thoughts are too fixed, forgive reason and logic. You ought to appreciate the known patterns of life. When you feel old and ugly, forgive beauty. You ought to be a steward of your body. When you are too confused, forgive clarity. You ought to live some of life's unanswered questions. When you are doubtful and anxious, forgive certitude. You ought to discover the errors of your thinking. When you feel broken, forgive love. You ought to take a look at your brokenness before you can be healed. When you feel orphaned, forgive family. You ought to see what you are capable of and be responsible for your life. When you feel lonely, forgive friendship. You ought to enjoy your own company and meet your demons and angels. When your mood swings, forgive meditation. You ought to ride the tides of your heart until you feel it to be your home. When you feel all too human, forgive religion. You ought to celebrate the wonder and beauty of human nature. When your money is not enough, forgive hard work. You ought to understand that you are much more than silver and gold. When you can't overtake a goal, forgive time. You ought to take the road of high achievement. When you feel yourself a bad person, forgive your ideal self. You ought to give in to the slow process of ripening. Forgive, forgive, forgive. Everything isn't supposed to be what you think it is. Forgive and leave your heart open.